The flower's dying. It needs water.
Jonathan, old chap, how are you tonight? I've seen little of you of late.
I was conducting research in my room, away from the nightly routines.
Of course, of course. Worry not, I understand. The situation has been testy around here. I won't deny it, but we still stand.
What news do you bring?
The news is not good, my friend. We try to keep the epidemic at bay, but street violence is escalating quickly.
How bad is the epidemic?
It is killing the infected patients faster, in less than 2 days now. The only blessing is that they are contagious for a shorter period.
Tell me more about the violence.
Jeffrey McCallum seems to have sent his war dogs on a hunt. On a nightly basis, Pre-Wen patrols exterminate every skal and vampire they find.
Have they come closer to the hospital?
No. They mainly focus on fallen districts or abandoned buildings. But they're growing in numbers. They must be recruiting heavily.
Have you any reliable friends in the West End who might assist me?
Unfortunately, you will be alone. Except for our ravishing red-headed acquaintance, of course.
What about the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole? Where are they?
There are only a few of us, and most others would not speak to you. I am the black sheep of our brotherly flock, you know.
What of my commission here at Pembroke Hospital?
Nothing to fear, Jonathan. Your position here is in no jeopardy. You remain one of us, and you are always most welcome.
I have received an alarming letter from Lady Ashbury. She wants me to meet her at her house. I have been granted safe passage.
Then you are twice fortunate. I have never been invited to the lady's mansion, and with the quarantine and controls, city access is nigh impossible.
Is the quarantine serving any purpose?
It is helping slow the propagation of the epidemic. But as long as we have no clue to its origin, its efficiency is limited.
Why have you never entered the lady's house? You are one of her good friends, are you not?
My dear Jonathan, you have no idea how reclusive the good lady normally is, nor in what great esteem she must hold you to let you into her domain.
Thank you, Edgar. We shall speak again later. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
My condition cannot be understood by you, mortal. This curse is beyond your science.
Well, until the day science finally admits failure, please accept this little contribution.
Thank you, Doctor. Your efforts are admirable, though laughable.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No. I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. Never could.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. Any news about my operation?
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reid.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reid? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reid. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
I would have been confused if anyone other than you had asked that question, Dr. Reid. But your help is welcomed.
There is no shame in helping each other. We're colleagues, after all.
Many doctors I have known are too cynical to think that way.
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reid? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reid. That's all I'm asking.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reid. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reid. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be chasing shadows.
Chasing shadows, really? It's funny those words coming from the only doctor here who has spent more time outside this hospital than in.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reid.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reid.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time? That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
The flower's dying. It needs water. Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Ackroyd. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, Nurse?
I will be fine, as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reid. Thank you.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.